Xin Kiao, and welcome back to my channel. In this vlog, I'm going to share my experience of looking for my ancestral home in Ho Chi Minh City. Here we are arriving at the airport after flying from Da Nang. We checked into our hotel and were greeted by some complimentary banana coconut ice cream. My family is from Ho Chi Minh City. While I still have some relatives on my mother's side of the family living in Vietnam, most of my father's side left the country after the Vietnam War. I did meet up with my mother's side on this trip. However, this vlog is going to be more about searching for my father's old home in Ho Chi Minh City because it was a challenge looking for it. There are some things that never leave your memory, such as your childhood address. The month before my trip, I had asked my dad for the address of my grandmother's shop and was surprised that he still remembered. I saved it on Google Maps and was determined to find it. He has showed me an old picture of it from the 1960s to early 1970s, which I wish I had saved a copy of it to do a before and after montage. Our journey starts in the heart of District 1. Instead of ordering a grab car, I wanted to walk to the location so I could take in the same sights and sounds my dad had experienced. Okay, maybe not quite as congested as it was back then, but you get the point. Crossing the streets in Vietnam still posed as a challenge to me, so I did the most effective thing: tag behind a local. The key thing is to keep moving, but it's hard to fight the urge to suddenly stop in your tracks as motorbikes are coming at you. Here's the famous roundabout that my dad had mentioned. I had looked up some YouTube videos about it, and now seeing it in person, it looked intimidating to cross. I feel like we're going to need some sort of invincibility shield to get across this roundabout.
That was a hard one.
I just crossed one of the streets in this roundabout and didn't get hit.
At least things seem calmer on this side of the roundabout. No, this isn't really New York City or Central Perk. It's Central Perk, Saigon. I guess my dad lived in a cool place. I guess he lived in the Greenwich Village of Saigon. We found Duong Quynh, or the street he lived on. Turns out it's a major street and it seems bustling. We walked past many food vendors, marveling at how much cheaper even things like coconuts are once you get away a few blocks from the touristy areas. There were vibrant fruit stands selling logans and green oranges. The sight of dirty dishes left on the corner to be washed in the big basins meant that people still live and work at the same place. We were looking at the numbers on the street and knew we were getting close. My dad had explained to me that there was an alleyway that leads to the side entrance to the building. It took us a while wandering through the labyrinthian alleys, and finally a local, who was curious as to why two Americans kept walking up and down this residential area, pointed us in the direction to the side entrance into my grandmother's shop/house.
It's a bit challenging finding my dad's old house. It actually was a tailor shop by my grandmother, his mother. She was a tailor. And back in the days, you lived and worked at the same location. So her shop used to be somewhere around here.
Thank you, random neighbor. We found the alleyway that led us to what was once the side entrance to my grandmother's shop and home. I'm standing here in the location where my dad used to live. My grandmother was a tailor, so she had a shop in this area. Of course, it's long gone, when they left the country in 1975. So, of course, I don't expect to see any remnants of it. It's just cool to be in the area that my dad grew up. It would have been super intrusive to try to get through the side gates, so I'll just circle the area in one place. All right, so we're incurring some weird looks from the locals around here, so we're gonna skedaddle before somebody pulls us over and starts asking us questions. Next was looking for the front entrance. You had to go by the street numbers. Again, I'm not expecting to see a tailor shop. We're looking for the number 152. I can see number 154, which is a dental office, and 150 was the Toku. That makes the Cowboy Zone Cafe number 152. I knew we were in the right place because there was a movie theater and a school nearby, just like how my dad described.
Might as well step in for a drink at the Cowboy Zone Cafe. Let's imagine that the motorbike parked in front belongs to him and that he had been zipping around the roundabout before coming home. Cowboy Zone Cafe served drinks and desserts. What a coincidence. I love going out to get drinks and desserts. Also, it seems predestined that there would be cowboy decorations as the former family living here had immigrated to America.
Isn't this ironic? So over 50 years ago, this site was the site of my grandmother's tailor shop. And now we're here getting some fruity tea drinks. Unreal. So over 50 years ago, had you came to this site, my grandmother would have made you a dress, a shirt, a pair of pants. Now if you come here, you get a fruity drink.
We stayed long enough to enjoy our lychee, rose, and pink guava teas along with the customary free Southern Vietnamese iced teas on the side. Nearly 50 years later, Quynh had returned home. I felt like there was a sense of completion returning to the site of my ancestral home. Born in the U.S., I always felt like there was something missing in me because I didn't know the country that my family had came from. Now I found that last puzzle piece. In my research, I knew about the park that was next to my dad's neighborhood.
Now walking through the park near my dad's old house. So he said this park was pretty popular back then. Right now, it seems to be so. It's evening time, so everybody's out playing badminton, soccer, going for a walk, going for a jog. And as for me, we're just going to take a leisurely walk.
With that, we took a walk back to our hotel. As it turns out, our hotel was located pretty close. Up ahead is the Saigon Opera House, which my dad said his sister or my aunt used to work at. It makes sense now since it would have been a short walk from my grandmother's house.
My cousin is good at picking fruit. Look how juicy and tasty these mangoes look. And it's okay to bring it into the hotel because it's not a durian.
And we made short work of this grapefruit that my cousin had given us. Again, it's not durian, so it's allowed in the hotel. And these little coconuts are so adorable. They come with little straw so you could put it in the center here, and look, you have a coconut.
Now it's time to end our journey through Vietnam. Off to the airport we go. I couldn't help but think that unlike my parents, I'm leaving Vietnam under more peaceful circumstances.
Oh, isn't that sweet? There's a well-wisher gallery for family members who want to come here to the airport to wish their loved ones goodbye to their next destination. As for me, I still have my last can of Coke that my uncle had given to me. So I'll drink this Coke in honor of him. Hey. These are in U.S. prices. Look at that.
After being in the country for over 2 weeks, I had gotten accustomed to the Vietnamese prices. I love how you can find high quality and fresh food at a cheap price.
Okay, look how small this banh mi is. Look how small and thin it is. This is the chicken and cheese one. But I guess it was about the right price because 2 of these plus my drink was about $5 US.
This trip was more than just a fun vacation. This was a personal quest to connect with my ancestral roots. Embarking on this journey, there was a sense of familial duty. It was honoring my parents and the generations that came before me. My ancestors live on because I made it a point to remember them. Think of how fleeting their existence was, just like how my grandmother's tailor shop has now become a juice bar. No one else would have known that history except for me. Boarding the plane, I took in one last whiff of the air of Vietnam. Then I realized that I was just inhaling the exhaust from the plane. Oh well, it was supposed to be a meaningful gesture. I waited a lifetime to visit Vietnam because my family's past was complicated and more recent than, let's say, someone who is a 6th-generation American like my husband. As we took off from Ho Chi Minh City, I reflected on the profound impact of reconnecting with my roots. This trip has not only enriched my understanding of my heritage, but also deepened my appreciation for the vibrant tapestry of human history. Thank you for following me during this vlog series.